Good morning, traders. This is Alex with the Stock Matrix. I'm going to do a quick update. It's 7:27 Monday morning, 2026, and we are going to review the stocks from the old Matrix program. And again, it's kind of morphed, right? Again, that was the Matrix program from a couple years ago where we did options. I posted, you can try to search for Stock Matrix, one word. I won't put a link or anything, but it did well. We did options, right? Trying to teach people how to use options. That kind of thing. So, but this is going to be review of the matrix charts, right? All those charts that I did for that year, I kept up, right? No sense letting them go. We did 17 select stocks. I've added a couple things to that list. This is my X account, CBOT Man 33 is my handle, and this is where I'll update this. Now, I must say I have kind of been in the process of moving stuff over to a new YouTube and X account. Now this will be more the Gann related stuff. I might keep the matrix stuff in. Eventually I want to move everything over to here, right, and keep that X account, whatever else, for more of a personal. So you can see this is my handle right up here, at wdgmastermanual 33. Now again, we've also I've been promising to finally get my stuff that I was selling over the decades, the Gann's tools, which are the two squaring calculators, square of the range calculator and the master chart calculator. Here are the QR codes you can point and look at. Here is the manual. Now the manual is the online lessons, and it's kind of morphed a little bit. I switched it to more of a comprehensive, and I have a lot of personal YouTube links in this to help narrate and teach people how to use these tools and the trendline indicator and different things like that on all these different markets. There's so many, it's hard to like pinpoint, right? From cryptos to whatever. Anyway, that's the housekeeping for the day. We'll be transferring a lot of this stuff over. Now this, again, you can check those QR codes out, and I'll post them again at the end. But again, this is my new YouTube channel, so if you want to venture over there, we'll update that as we go. And these are on the Gumroad.com website. So again, they charge 10%. I don't have to have my own webpage like I used to. Again, my webpage got shut down when I sold Advantage Futures. So, and I am retired now, so I didn't know they had such a thing. So it's cool. I can leave them up there for people to download at will. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. We're going to go over the Matrix program itself. Again, if you're new to the Matrix, I used to do quarter moons, right, for time. Now I do the waxing waning moons, but the emphasis is the solar eclipse and the sequence that follows, which involves the lunar, of course, either before or after, and then all these color coordinated things. This one is halfway, basically, between the two solar eclipses, right? And this kind of green gray is half again, or a quarter, right? So that breaks down into the Gann sequence in a sense from the solar eclipse. So that's when you see these quarters. If I forget to mention it, you kind of keep an eye on it. Now, I don't know if I've got all the charts done, but I've been going through and highlighting if it's near the lower high for my own personal visual, right? I want to make sure that if it's close, again, sold NVIDIA up here because it hit a peak, had a kind of bad close, right? And it was in the timing. You knew all-time highs, what the heck, that kind of thing. So we'll go through everything here, but that's the setup. The square of 9 is always the pricing, and you can see how I'm doing it, right? If it needs to be broke down a little more, I divide it by 2, or maybe even 4, right? Keep it mathematical, everything. I don't care what you do. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, keep it mathematical. That's what I do up here, right? I'm breaking it down into the crescent moon, which again is about 3 days long, 3.5. So when there's a holiday, I might not have any data, but that's fine. Some days when there's only one date in there, it's amazing how much change can occur. All right, let's go to NVIDIA. We're going to go through these stocks that you see at the bottom. Again, these are all based on the waxing, waning, crescent moon deal. And here's NVIDIA. You can see we're kind of in the crossroads, or what I call the cardinal cross. That's the true cardinal cross is a 1-to-1 on the square of 9 chart, right? But I still consider this, to me, a cardinal cross where not only time, right, which it predicted the low, but also in price. We're kind of having struggles here. Now the solar eclipse, which are in yellow, which I might have to go back and change, but when I look at the video back myself, I can't really see it, but it's pretty important, support and resistance, right? So basically from here to here on both sides is about an equal range. We spent a lot of time there, and we went back to that support range. So it didn't quite hit it, which is a little more friendly. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not on the there's a yellow line that goes from close to close. It's amazing how many times that prediction, let me see, it'll be about right in here, will be the uh, predicted close based from close to close of the two solar eclipses. So that's kind of fascinating. It works more often than not. Just something to keep an eye on. Now, again, it doesn't have to, it's kind of a weird thing, but you can see how this also predicted this low a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where we close in this thing officially on August 12th, which is rapidly approaching, by the way. Now, of course, kind of another housekeeping deal for me, any important time zone, for me, I'm using solar eclipses, right? So you should look a month ahead. July 12th was right in this zone. Now, that's, I don't care what it is, right? If you're a 144-month cycle guy, you look a month ahead and a month after. It's amazing how many times, I don't care what it is, right? It could be the speed of Jupiter, Mars, or conjunctions, whatever, right? You look a month ahead and a month after. It's amazing how many times that occurs and is very important. Now here is Meta. You can see we kind of had a secondary event. These are the speed lines, one-to-ones. Again, one crescent moon to up to, or over to 1 square of 9 up. And you can see we're kind of, the solar eclipse is definitely the barrier. So if you kept it in the average on this one, the previous one, it did a lot of the damage, and anything below it too far was rebounded pretty quickly. The solar eclipse was kind of in no man's land. The lunar was kind of no man's land, really. But again, to me, a lot of times the market, you can see this was low on the quarter, right in the halfway between, was kind of this little pivot. Now, again, the quarter was also this low, so that's making me kind of more excited that, again, what I call getting in balance is the solar or lunar eclipse sequence somewhere out here, right, will be an important low or high. Now, for bulls, you want it to be a low. Here's Coke. Again, kind of a safety valve play. A good trender, right? The one back in September solar eclipse of 2025, and this one, you can see that we're definitely speeding, which is maybe a little bearish on the stocks themselves, right? If this meets that, that probably means that the other stocks are getting hammered, right? Because again, Coke to me is a safety play. The only money decisions Coke has to do is whether they use sugar, real sugar, or corn syrup, right? So it depends on the price of the product. So there's not, I don't know how many new products they got coming out, but it's a simple thing. Now here's Google, probably one of my favorites. Sometime if you're bored, do an AI dive on Google. Now I use Google L because it has more history, but the GOOG, just do some deep dive. Ask Claude or Grok or something to do a deep dive on Google. It's amazing. Their company model, they own everything in their own system. So they're spending, this down was because they spent a lot of money. Well, but they didn't buy back their stock to spend money, right? They actually invested in their company. They built infrastructure. They own all their own chips, right? So again, I like Google as a long-term play, probably more than most. So again, they dwarf from an advertising company basically to now an AI master. Actually, a lot of these big companies are using their chips. So I find that pretty fascinating. Just do it just for craps and giggles. It's one of those companies where you buy these little shallow sell-offs. Now here's one, and again, I went and copied and pasted it to the low. Right, this is the same speed, same exact one, because you can't see it if I put it online, but you can see that this is the time and price. We went through it by a little bit, but so I'm pretty pumped up about buying this dip. It's near the solar eclipse and staying above it. Hopefully, we are 67.5 degrees over, which I like. 90 degrees is kind of in the solar sequence. So if you're wanting to maintain a more flatter period, you could buy calls until we get past the August 27th time period. So September calls would probably work. If you don't want to, if you're trying to stay more, again, the stock market itself is pretty teetery. I think something's going on. We definitely have a top in this S&P index. I haven't looked at the NASDAQ for a while, but I imagine it looks similar. IBM and the Dow, I don't know what the hell's going on with IBM. Their thing's broken. 30% gap down, really, in this day and age. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. This is Microsoft. Again, another big stalwart. We did have the bear trap, which I bought. I really like bear traps if you follow me. So for every equal action, there's an opposite. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction, Newton's law. So I expect a bull trap up here if this holds, right? Now, this little puny back rally hasn't proven itself yet. So if it goes down and makes another new low, then I wouldn't like that too much. So here's Amazon. Again, this big run up was kind of the I don't know, kind of the last gasp. We sold it here, obviously. So I'm kind of got our stops here. It just makes sense to me. This market looks a little weak. The cardinal cross, went through it by one notch. You can see this is squaring out of the range, right, from this low to this high to here. So this, which was right on this bar. So this week's close is going to be pretty key. Today is Monday, so the market hasn't opened yet officially. Here is Apple, again, kind of a plugger. Now, if we can get a couple of X's in here, logically the stops in will get put. I would put them here if we would go up here a little bit. And maybe even if it doesn't, it makes sense maybe to raise the stop. Because again, you're risking a lot from your stop to the current area. I wouldn't trade that way personally, but again, it's a systematic approach. Doesn't really care what I think. Here is Tesla, again, a piss pounder. Solar eclipse closes. The closes were lower. Now here is that yellow line. I don't know if you can see it from solar to close to solar close, but it comes in right here. So my forecast would be around 390 is where it's going to close out on August 12th. Well, that's quite a ways away. Probably not real logical. Again, you can see we tanked it. We have a trap though. I like that. So again, the next today it should be up. If it isn't up, or tomorrow, I guess give it a little couple days. But I would expect it to recover quite quickly if the trap is real. Maybe I'll sit here until the next zone. This one ends July 29th, which is a Wednesday. So that's a for real one. It comes in at 1 in the morning though, so a little iffy. And then August 1st is your next one, and that comes in at 5:17 p.m. So that's a for real one. No if about that one. End of the month, new month. There's always turmoil, and that's a weekend though, right? So that's a Sunday. So Friday, which will be the end of the month, could be kind of interesting where it settles out at. Here is Lynn. I believe it's a hydrogen play. I didn't plot this as wide as some, and you can see it had a slow, weird, methodical bump up. It's a high dollar stock. Stops are above new highs because we sold it right here in the ass. And I don't like that sell. Close enough to the solar eclipses where it's probably more of a buy than a sell. But it is what it is. No big deal. Pretty small risk trade, to be honest with you. Here, the zone 225 degrees, right on the 360-degree wheel. This was the low in here. So I don't know. Again, the Gann stuff from the solars. This was the low. This was an area. The lunar eclipse sequence, not the solar, but the lunar was the high for quite a while. It's all the high we had until recently. So again, now this sequence, the halfway was near the low. I like all that. So it kind of tells me the solars or lunars maybe are in more of a sequence with the market, which I like. Here is ED, again, Edison. This thing has just been kind of I don't know. I got some data problems here where they all went. Anyway, currently we got quite a bit of, we popped new highs. Makes sense a little bit that this stop is pretty good. It's up against the 1-to-1. This one squared out the range. I like all that. This squaring was a time and price deal. It actually picked it. But man, this solar eclipse is the tough nut to crack. I think we're gonna have a hard time getting up through that the way it looks. Now, if it ever can comfortably, then that's a long-term support, right? Right now, you don't know. Here is Adobe again. The bears. You can see I duplicated this down to here. This will be the timing. The price has already been met, right? So it could trade sideways into here, similar to what it did here, right? It kind of had this little chopper range, and it finally popped it out. Again, here's IBM, the crook of crooks. Let me see if I can squish it down if you can still see it. Yeah, I guess you can a little. Let me get a little bigger. But you can see this gap in here was 30%. Pretty gnarly, and I don't like it. It don't make sense to me in this day and age. Let me draw a line in just to see if we've matched it. Yeah, we kind of, again, just a simple line. I have no idea if that's mathematical, but we closed back above it, which is a criminal. I mean, if it's going to gap down 30%, their AI is busted. They need to, if they don't use AI, they need to. I think they want these gaps. The only thing that makes sense to me. Now, the last time they did something like this, it predicted the rest of the gaps, and sure enough, it did. A lot of these companies' earnings are sucking ass. Google went down again, so the whole model is kind of set up, looks like to me, to go down. Here is Bank of Magellan. What a great trender, man. Just a bull market. I believe I was asking the AI stuff. I went to a couple different ones, what they thought. And they had some comment about this bank is one of them that are thinking about applying Ripple or XRP. Don't know quite the details there, but if that makes sense to me a little bit, or it's a Trump bank or something, right? I mean, I don't know why, but that what a nice channeler, easy buy, easy place to put stops, or buy puts against your, buy 100 shares and buy a put. You don't have to worry about stops in. Or if you're mid-level bearish, you buy two puts, buy 100 shares and buy two puts, right? Because that'll cover you. You could buy 153 puts, buy two of them, and then you buy 100 shares if it's a dividend, so you get your dividends, but you go out and buy two puts, probably pretty cheap right now, and that way if it goes down, you actually make money, and if it goes up, you make money, and that kind of thing. Now again, you have to bail on them when the time rolls out. Here's Procter and Gamble, kind of a chopper, um, and that's pretty weird. We got actually stopped out here, which I don't think. Yeah, I did update it, but I did. Oh, I guess I got both in there. So our stops now are down here. It makes sense. Just a putrid freaking deal. I don't know. If I had to redo it, definitely Procter & Gamble would not be in there. I think IBM wouldn't be in there. Just too stupid. Why? Well, all the hundreds and thousands of stocks to trade. Why have one that doesn't make sense, right? Now, I didn't know that when I put them on. I just took the top oldest companies. That's how I did it, except for Coinbase, because I needed something that kind of traded options for the Bitcoin. The diamond, new highs. I don't know what these closes are all about, or these V's up here, but you can see the market, it closed on its absolute high. Pretty interesting, right? We definitely pinched this out. I think this has a little residue with all the people that were wrong about silver and JP Morgan being short, right? There was a lot of fake news out there. And I think that they pressed it down. This whole low here was caused by that news. So, fake, I think. I don't know. I don't know the true answer, but if it was fake, the end result of this going up makes a lot of sense, right? When anytime you have anything either by the government or the news, fake news, real news, big trader pushing the market down, I call it artificial. The rewards are the ones who buy that and kind of know that the news is probably crap, or whatever, right? I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. Trading commodities for a long time, you get a lot of that. The wheat is in great shape. Well, no, it died. What the hell? So you buy that break, right? That's kind of the common theme. Here's Coinbase. Again, you can see the solar, I missed the freaking thing. It should be over one. But this whole, I like this bottom. If it is a bottom, I might as well go down and have a trap though, right? Makes sense. Get down in here. So that if I bought it, I'm not afraid of it doing it, right? That's always the fear. The stops are brewing down here. I'm guessing probably around the 129.50 area. This is a squaring of the range, right? And this is a great range trader. This will end, same speed, right? We'll end right here, probably maybe one over, we'll call it two, somewhere in here, right? This is it's a simple thing. I like it. It's a time thing. You can see that the pivot was the halfway between the two solar eclipses. So I like that. And then the quarters were also a good swings on both sides. One was a low, one was a pivot. So the sequences are working, which makes me believe that the solar lunar sequence, the next one, eclipses, will be quite active. I'd like to see a low if I'm bullish Coinbase. If it's a high, I won't like that very much already enough. Here is Cintas. They definitely trade. You can see all these are the color coordinated from the solar eclipse sequence. Again, I didn't make this up, right? This is the info I pulled out of Gann's, kind of hidden information. What I did is I went back to Gann's work, all his big market forecasts that were reported on. Of course, again, he sells books, right? So he only published the ones that you wanted to see. He had some losses there too, that you never get reported in history. But all his main picks were 90 degrees after the solar eclipse. So, the steel trade, I won't get into it, but just know that that's where I didn't come up with this. I pulled it out of Gann's information, kind of a hidden secret, right? So, yeah, pretty simple stuff. But this is Lilly. I had one that I added, so 17 select stocks plus a few more. Here's the lunar eclipse, kind of a support area. Now, if this would go back down, since we have some X's here, I will push the stops down. If it goes down, I'll close on its high, up against the 1-to-1. Lilly is another one. They do the weight loss shot. And man, they advertising the crap out of that. Hopefully it don't hurt people. Long term, there's no studies to prove anything, right? If you're wanting to buy a bigger dip, this 1-to-1 trend line makes a lot of sense from the low. Now, I'm going to duplicate this one if I can. Copy. I gotta go up here, paste. Now, if you're looking for an area that's maybe a little quicker, right? This from this low. This is also a 1-to-1. So basically, you buy it in here somewhere where these lows were. It's close enough, right? Now, if you want a longer term dip, though, let me see. Here's the solar. Probably in here somewhere, right? Probably more closer down to the lows, somewhere in there. Well, 10. We'll call it 1081, and give it the 12th out to the 12th, or maybe even the 16th. We'll go one extra step. Now, if you're wanting even a bigger break, right, then you got to go to the previous solar eclipse, and hopefully it makes it right on the thing. Now, if you're wanting for a sell, I can't get it to you, but this yellow line going from solar eclipse close to solar eclipse close, this yellow line that's going up, it happens to be near to 1-to-1, right? You can see the angle is maybe off a little, but this forecast, I can't get it for you, but it's up here somewhere. I'm going to guess around $14, maybe $13.80. Somewhere up there would be where I think it's going to close if it's a bull on August 12th. And this is the buying break, right? Again, you don't get too many breaks on these bull markets. This one was quite significant. And obviously, once it broke out, that was your buy zone, long term and short term. SpaceX, I've been plotting this since the beginning. I'm actually scaling this one. I don't know what these things are here. I won't get into this too much. I'm not friendly SpaceX logically or fundamentally. You know, he controls everything. He's the big dog. You can't fire him. The problem is 90%, from what I've gathered on all the AI deep dive news that all this 90% of it is not. 10% is going into the actual rocket launch stuff, and the rest of it's going in. 90% of it's going into, I believe, Grok or whatever other platform that he has. I don't know if it's Grok. I think there's another one. Anyway, you can do the deep dive. I don't like that. Doesn't make sense to me. But there's a trading modem that I've used in the commodities. It's called, and works better in stocks, to be honest with you. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's just called a scaling program. Now, what I'm doing is buying every even square. It's a simple thing. I'm not bullish or bearish. So I buy it at 121, and then I buy it at 100, and then I'll, even squares, right? And I'll buy it at 81. Then my goal is to trade out of it. So let's say I did buy this one at 121. I will get out 1.5. So I'm getting out here. So I have bought it. I think I've got 5 shares. I'm just doing small stuff. Because again, you got to have enough money. Because it could go to, which I don't think it will, but it could definitely go down, $15 or something, right? I mean, you got to keep enough money to have. So it's something that it's a no-brainer. I don't think about it. I don't actually won a few losses, right? So I get accumulation. So then I have sell orders, good till cancel already in. There's no slippage on this one, no stops to worry about. I'm not putting any stops. I've got buy orders in at 100 is my next buy zone, and then I will sell that out if I get filled at 100. Right, we go up to the even and a half square. So I'm getting out right here. I can do one extra click. 132.98 would be my sell order. Simple thing, right? Now you can create whatever number you want. Even you can do it even marks. But that's a scale, and that's what I'm doing because I have no idea. I would never be long SpaceX. I don't believe in SpaceX program anyway. But I do like that it's a huge in the news deal. I'm hoping for volatility. Hopefully it ate straight down into the teens or something. Here's Bitcoin. Now the only issue I have, I don't have a speculative account, so I can't I have to wait a day on Robinhood to put my orders in because you don't want to get too many day trades. They kind of poo-poo you. So I have to wait a day. So now in real volatile markets, on a scale, I had a buddy of mine who had a customer that's trading big spreads in wheat, and they were trading. I mean, he had 10 orders a day get filled because the movement was so wild, right? But he had to put in a lot of money, right? I mean, it's a money game. You don't want to run out, and you don't want to change in the middle of no man's land. Here is Bitcoin. Again, one that I added. And you can see the solar eclipse kind of stopped it once, maybe again. The stops are up here. If we get some O's, obviously it'll go here, which I probably will still, if I had any Bitcoin, I'd probably still keep it up here. I like the bear trap. I like that it plundered it. Not only once, we have a double bear trap. It's down 52, 3, 4%, probably down to here. But you can see the problem is in the structure. This 1-to-1's coming off the highs. I don't have all the data, but you can see it's a downward pointing thing. Now, the first highs already came in. I think I'm going to hang on one second. I'm going to pull up the chart because this is one that I don't have all the data, but I think it's important. Hang on. Okay, I'm on my bar chart. Now, I've mentioned this before for the new viewers. These annuals, which I love annuals. I trade them. I keep them on a Google Calendar. of all the stuff that I like to trade. But this one was July 14th. You look back, and July 14th was kind of in no man's land, but pretty close to the low. The next one is August 14th, which is coming up in a couple weeks, or 3. But the big dog, of course, is October 6th. Now, if you're been around the horn, you know October is kind of deadly for the stock market. A lot of massive breaks have occurred in the stock market. The problem with the stock market, everything's tied to it. Bitcoin, there's a lot of ETFs, a lot of different money flows going back and forth. The gold, silver. Again, back when I first started trading back in the 80s, gold and silver was the opposite, right? If the commodities were down in general, then the CRB, then the gold and silver were typically up. Or if the stocks were up, gold and silver were typically down. Now, silver was always down. It was a dog with fleas. Gold was always the main biased, and still, I guess, is a little bit, but silver has a little more pull now. But anyway, point is, and nowadays, if you look back at every big stock break we've had in the last 10 years, everything goes down if it's a huge smash, right? The stock market goes down, everything goes down. Gold, silver, I think probably Bitcoin maybe even, right? Because it's a money flow deal. All these big funds are liquidating. They're liquidating every asset across the sector, right? Because they're scared, or I don't know if they have fear. Most of them, it's an automatic blow. They put it in cash, put it in bonds, that kind of thing, right? So now, if you're scared of this, the market to me is a little troublesome. Let me pull up, since we're here and I'm going so far off track, I don't have it. Hang on. This is a little troublesome for me. Let me pull up a spot chart. This is the S&P. Well, again, an S&P is the index, right, which is tricky. But you can see we had a sideways action here, then a rollover puke. We had a sideways action, right, 3 kind of prominent highs, and then a smash. We got kind of a similar deal here, 3 and a smash. Now, if we ever take out this pivot, don't buy the first break. Be patient. That's just my rules. I mean, I have rules set up for the stock market in particular, but something smells. This thing now again, I call this the Trump effect, right? These breaks have been all bought up. The stock market's proven quite generous to his what he's doing. So, but this setup is definitely interesting. I'm a little concerned. So the point I'm making is maybe there is like Google has a bond you can invest in. If you want to roll your money out into something a little more safe, or buy puts, right? These puts are probably cheaper. Let's say you have a bunch of Apple stock and you're a little concerned of this being a potential longer-term high. Just buy some puts out in January. Again, October is always troublesome. Now, of course, you can see the annual here is in March. This one is that stupid April 7th one, which Bitcoin also made a low on April 7th. This is 2025. This was a weird one. It crossed all sectors, even the metals. So commodities, whatever, all made this. So April 7th, you got to keep track of in your head. April 7th, 2026 was a low. April 7th of 2027 will be in the hunt here shortly. I know it doesn't seem like it's that far away. I don't know how I got thought on that, but that Bitcoin potential bottom, you don't know. Bear trap is pointing it down a little bit. Now, this was the old chart, right? This is the quarter moons. You can see it has a little different look. I also plotted the full moons and new moons, right? So it's lots, from solar to solar is 12 versus 24 on the quarters and 48 on the right. So you can see there's a lot more data points in each bar. So you can see we did pop it up. The short-term trend's up, but I think you got to assume you got to take this out to really confirm something. 67.098 will go up one. If you're waiting for a longer-term deal. Now here is the XRP, again, another market that's in kind of quiet zone. You can see the pattern is not good. It has these hard, sharp spanks, and then rest inside the money bar, I call it, right? Or money swing. This one is basically where all the volume was placed, a lot of big volume, and we're just inside that until recently, right? So again, you got to assume the XRP could, if this low doesn't hold, it'll roll over and have another huge spank down, probably down in here somewhere. I'm just totally guessing, but again, then we'll trade sideways again until something changes. Now, again, I'm not an XRP fan, or I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. I just know that when I was doing a lot of studying to trying to figure out why BNY was moving up, Ripple kept coming up into my view. And so, again, I don't know if people spread the different ones, but obviously the Bitcoin's been the kingpin. It's like gold silver spread. A lot of guys always think silver's undervalued compared to this gold. So if that's the case, you got to put the spread on, right? You got to sell gold, buy silver. You can't just buy silver because then you're not spreading it, right? The same thing with the XRP. If you believe XRP should be a lot higher in the spread relationship to Bitcoin, you got to figure out a way to actually put the spread on. You can't just do half of it. Here's Qualcomm, and another one that I added. When I was going through the charts, I really like this slop joy trade that it has up and down in the range. You can see the one-to-ones work pretty goddamn good. Solar eclipse is in the hunt. 112 degrees over this week. I have no idea. Oh, I put the stops here because we had one bar up. Again, I'm not actually officially trading it, so, but if not, your stop's got to be up here, right? I don't know why I put it down here. It might have showed an X until I rechanged it. So, but again, this one is definitely got some swinging going on. I probably need to expand it. It's a little too much. I need to change the chart, which isn't an easy task, but I think it's too wide. So the stops are probably too tight here. But you can see that the solar eclipses were kind of a dud, kind of in the hunt for the quarter period. Halfway was kind of a pivot. This high was in no man's land. So we're out of sequence with the solar lunar. So that concerns me a little bit that we haven't brought it back into sequence on these. This was kind of a halfway point of the down. So again, I'm not a fan of Qualcomm based on the timing. Now, it doesn't mean you can't still trade it, but the Gann stuff, the solar sequence stuff, is not in sync. So I have a little more time getting excited, right? Because when it's in sync, I'm confident. When it's out of sync, I'm not confident. And confidence is the game. Now, here's the previous solar eclipse. Offered some support. Let me see, that's the range of the previous solar, right here. You see if you did the whole range, right, that's it. So we're kind of fell into that support level. The close is right in here, right where we closed, up on the one-to-one with timing. So if you're wanting to buy a break in Qualcomm, this is a good area. I really have no stops to go after. We do have an open close down here. If you're wanting to buy a deeper break, or you're adding to losers, which I do not recommend, but a lot of people stack or cost average down, right? This would be an area where you could do that. So, all right, I'm going to sign off. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Maybe I'll, if I do delete it, and then you go, what sidetrack? Because I really went off on a tangent on that Bitcoin. Again, thanks again for watching. Here is my Gumroad links. You can look at them, write them down, or you can use your phone and look them up. Again, I appreciate everything that people buy. I don't sell a lot, but it does help keep the lights on, especially when I had the website. Holy crap, that was more expensive than I remember. I had the website for 15 years. It's like, once I sold the business, I go, it's a good time to get rid of it. And of course, I get a lot of emails. Where you at? Can't find you. Of course, I did again, if you're a Gann person, like I've been for a long time, I went down every rabbit hole there was. Astrological stuff to you name it, man. I had it. I did everything. And I was trading Gann down to the 4th decimal point. Now I'm like, I'm become more of an accumulational trader. All the examples in the squaring calculator and the master chart calculator, these right here, those I find dates to get accumulation. I'm an accelerational guy now. I don't care about picking time and price like I did before. I mean, I was a picking some buck, and it worked. I mean, no problem. But now with all these weekly short-term options, even in crude oil, you can trade them in gold, silver, or if you're in the stocks, a lot of them have weekly options. Those are where I make my money on now because I know the market's going to accelerate. You can do long straddles. Don't want to get too deep into the option part, but there's definitely a lot of things that you can do on that. And that's one thing that I've morphed into. And again, but all my charts are still Gann related. I just figured out how to visually look at it. Right here is the square of 9. I still do the Gann squares of the range. I just do it visually on a chart on the stuff that I like to see. Problem is, I can't automatically look at 20 new stocks and just rapidly look at what I want. Right, I have to create it, manually plot it, that kind of thing. All right, I'm going to sign off. Everyone have a great week. Again, it's Monday about 8:13. The bell's about ready to ding.